we're talking to mainly the washed up athlete. There's obviously people we can help, and part of that is the diet stuff, the physical stuff. But I think the faith piece is a big part of that, especially from an identity perspective. Especially for a washed up college athlete, you spend years and decades pouring yourself into competing, and then when that's done, it's hard to, you can place that in other things, in a job, um, in another person, but there's so many things that are temporary, but having that faith to fall back on when times are tough, I think that's a big deal. And so if we can help people solidify or even find that faith, then I think that's so worth it. And again, I haven't been through. I've had a pretty easy and blessed life, so I haven't been through some of those hard things that they have. But I feel confident and at peace knowing that when those storms come, like that we have something to fall back on, you know. And I don't know, Brandon. I don't know if you can speak to that at all as someone who's gone through some of those harder
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. I mean, definitely they all kind of talked about like how their faith kind of was their, I don't know, their floor or their rock, right? Their anchor in those times, like when everything else kind of doesn't make sense or is failing or, it's like sometimes you can move one identity to the next and to the next. And like, I just remember like for me in college, it was like my lowest point. It was like this failed and then that failed, like sports failed, relationship failed, and like school wasn't. And then what am I going to do with my life? And like, I just remember like on my worst day um, of my life, I remember a book that Todd gave me um, is like, was the thing that that pushed me forward, right? Past like the lowest time when I thought like everything failed, like, and I didn't feel like I had really anything. Like, that was the last piece. I remember being in my room and I looked over and it was like this book that he randomly gave me before I went back to Iowa City the second time to finish school. Ended up being like the only light that I had. And it was like the book was glowing. And basically it was like, you know, blessed is he who basically stays the course and is still like proud to know God and to be of God when everything like fails, when everything doesn't make sense. And like, because everything will fail you. And it's like all of it, even the good things, at some point can fail you or let you down or like can go away from you. And so, um, and Todd was also the person like that, when I felt like I needed to accept Christ into my life for the first time, it was him who I called. I remember being like just after baseball practice and I was at home and I was bawling and like he was the person I called. I was like, I just have this conviction that I need to like do this. You know what I mean? Or I need to do something. I don't know why I'm just like crying. I was like not that old. You know what I mean? I was praying for a Larchwood diamond. And it was like it was the beginning, but it was also like the root. You know what I mean? And it was crazy to see how that story when I was a teenager came full circle when I was 21 and had lost, in my opinion, like everything that I thought, could push me forward. It was my rock bottom and when everything else failed. And so I don't know what, and I think those are like the sad stories when you hit those positions and you don't have that, like, I think it's incredibly dark. You know what I mean? There is no light. And so I know faith isn't, we're not essentially like, this isn't a faith podcast, right? But like, there's no question that faith is a part of all of our lives and our families' lives and a lot of the people that we have on. And um, we're proud of that. We won't shy away from that. That's very real for us. It's as real as, touch or anything like that. So, um, yeah, we're here for those stories. We're here for that too. But again, it's mind, body, spirit, right? So the intellectual stuff, the information, right, in the body and the training, but there's also the spirit component, and it takes all three to be truly healthy, I think, and striving and thriving. So
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's the why. Like why strive for health? Why interact with people? Why make connections? Why ask more questions? Why find a deeper meaning? I think that faith piece is so important for for those that want to strive for that optimal health and are looking for something to strive for. Because I feel like when we don't have that faith, we don't have that belief in something more, we can get lost in this world and lost in maybe what is our purpose? Why are we doing things? And yeah, in the Bible, it says to treat your bodies like a temple. Like we get this one body, and we get to use it how we may. And I think there's just so much spiritually that tells us to like sharpen ourselves with others and be with others, and just love on each other and iron sharpens iron. It says it, and it preaches on it. And I think there's just so much power in finding a why, finding a purpose, and striving for health in that sense, and not necessarily what this world has to offer materialistically. I think there's just so much more value. And at the end of the day, when you're stuck with a decision that you don't necessarily have a concrete answer, I feel like you can lean on something that has purpose and has more meaning than what your mind may be telling you. I just think there's a lot of value there.